Yes, you guys, welcome back. In today's News Early video, we're going to discuss the latest stories, the biggest stories doing the rounds today. Here are the latest reports surrounding midfield targets for this summer, and with these two targets for me, these are prime Thomas Tuchel targets. Learn who their names are, learn why they could definitely upgrade our midfield and benefit us for next season. And to move on, we're going to discuss the future of Malang Sarr and whether he will still remain at FC Porto. And of course, a big story came up from Matt Law, providing more context and news surrounding the Timo Werner exit. So, let's keep him open minds. Let's learn the latest reports, you guys. I hope you enjoy. Of course, remember, if you like today's video, smash that like button. I want to get over 2,000 likes for today's video. And of course, you guys, if you can get me 500 likes within the first hour, I will release a second video where I'm going to be joined by guest son of Chelsea, where we discuss Timo Werner versus Lukaku versus Haaland. If you guys want to see it today, you know what to do. So without wasting no more time, let's kick things off with the first report. And I want to discuss what Matt Law had to say about this Timo Werner exit. Now, of course, the reports came out over the past few days. I reported them myself on this channel, and they suggested that the club could be open to possibly offering Werner as part of the deal to bring Haaland to Stamford Bridge. Now, Matt Law provided more context today, and he reported that the club are not looking to sell Timo Werner. However, it was how he structured this report, which left things a lot more open than I think first meets the eye. So I'm going to read out verbatim exactly what was written in the article today. Telegraph Sport understands that this is not a strategy that is currently under serious consideration at Chelsea. We have not discussed selling Werner, less than a year since he moved to England for 47.5 million from RB Leipzig. The unpredictable nature of the transfer market means it is impossible to categorically rule anything in or out, but Chelsea would also likely consider offering Werner as part of a bid for Haaland if Dortmund expressly insisted it was the only chance of completing a deal, and even then, Chelsea could still reject an offer like this. A sale of Werner would also be countenanced if the 25-year-old expressed a desire to leave Stamford Bridge, but the indications are currently that he wants to stay and fight for his place. So as you guys heard, a lot of wouldas, couldas, shouldas, but at the same time, this report does not 100% guarantee and confirm that the club are not open to the possibility of selling Werner if it meant getting a deal for Haaland done. Naturally, the report states that Werner is quite popular with his teammates. We've seen the videos between him and Ben, and he seems like a very likable character. And for me, if it came down to selling Werner, like I said in the last video, if we sold him, I don't think it will come down to the fact that the club don't rate Werner and that he isn't good enough. I think it would simply come down to brutal and cold business. If the only possibility of signing Haaland depended on offering Werner as part of the deal, we know we have all the biggest clubs in Europe after his signature too, and any slight advantage we can get, of course, is going to help us go a long way in getting this deal done. Now, in my opinion, I'm still interested to see how both Werner and Haaland could coexist together, considering that Haaland is that focal point up front, and when you sign strikers like this, in a sense, you have to play everything towards them. I feel like maybe if you have a Haaland, ideally down the left-hand side, a bit of trickery and skill, dribbling ability and goal threat coming from a Pulisic or Hudson-Odoi could be more ideal for someone like a Haaland up front, and down that right-hand side, that little bit of creativity from, Kai. That goal threat too that Kai possesses, as well as the creativity from Ziyech as well. I don't know, but in my opinion, we've seen Tuchel try to get the best out of Werner in this current 3-4-2-1 system, and for me, there's no real difference between how Lampard was using him and how Werner's being used now. And it does feel like, I don't know, again, it's my thoughts at this point in time. I'm still quite open to everything, but sometimes I'll admit, I do have this feeling at times in which Werner is like a tactical bottleneck, because you need to use the system in a unique way to use him. And considering we have like three guys that can play down the left-hand side in Werner's best position, I don't know if that can necessarily coexist alongside a focal point striker in Haaland, because as I stress, Haaland has said categorically his team, they will sign for the best club that will offer Haaland the best place to progress, and that essentially means he wants to play for a team in a system that's going to get the best out of his qualities and his strengths. So that's my opinion for now. I'm going to be open to things as the season goes on, you guys, but in the comments below, I said this before, but if you had to make that sacrifice, would you let Werner leave? Let us know below. Now, We move on to the second story, a very quick one. It's in regards to Malang Sarr, and it seems like his time at FC Porto could be essentially up. Reports are suggesting that Porto aren't looking to exercise their rights to buy him outright. They aren't looking to sign him on a permanent deal, and at the same time, Malang Sarr wants to return back to the club, I guess in hopes of potentially winning over Thomas Tuchel, and of course trying his chances out during pre-season. So for me, this does not come as a surprise. You know, Malang Sarr hasn't been like an undisputed first team player at Porto this season. Yeah, he's played 19 games in the league, but a lot of times he is seen as the backup player, the utility player. And I guess that's reflected by how he's been used equally as a centre-back and a left-back too. And, you know, I know that there's lots of hope surrounding Sarr, but I've always said that I feel like he's still quite far away from like our level at this point in time. Who knows, under Tuchel, maybe he might see something in him that he can work with that he likes. But at this point in time, it feels like potentially another loan move, maybe in the Premier League, could be a better education for him to allow him to progress and grow as a player. He has good attributes, you know, he can play out from the back, he's versatile. I think that technically he's quite good, but at the same time, I think he does have a few defensive deficiencies that, you know, at this level, you can't afford to allow. So if someone like Tomori isn't allowed to get in the team for one or two mistakes, then I don't know what opportunity that Malang Sarr has. So that is the second story out of the way, which gives me all the time now to focus on the big story today. That surrounds midfield targets for next season, and I'm going to discuss two players that are of particular interest to the club right now. And for the first midfield player, that is Fabian RUIZ from Napoli. Now, with this report, it's quite interesting. It states that both us and Atletico Madrid are showing an interest in Fabian RUIZ, and I get why this makes a ton of sense. RUIZ is around 6'2", very tall. He's able to play in a pivot. He's able to play as part of a midfield three. And what is particularly interesting about his game is the deep-lying nature in which he plays. It's his ability to play balls long and short, in particular his lofted through balls. I feel like in Tuchel's system, considering that we have players that make runs in behind, it feels like we lack that option, that quality in midfield at times. And for me, this still makes a ton of sense if Jorginho is used as an offer in hopes of signing RUIZ and bringing him to the club, because we know that Jorginho, he wants to return back to Napoli. Napoli most likely will sign him if Sarri takes over, and I feel like there could be business potentially if it involved maybe a player swap plus money offer. So with RUIZ, I think that he's definitely an interesting player. I think that under Tuchel, because we know that Tuchel likes his midfield players to be very good on the ball. Midfield players that can exercise his possession nature and possession style. I think that Fabian is a very elegant player. You know, he has been seen as like that successor to Xavi, which is, you know, a high compliment in itself. And I could definitely see a profile of this midfield player being suited to Tuchel's style and Tuchel's system. So that is one of the midfield targets out the way. His name is Gabriel Momino. He plays for Palmeiras, where he is a Copa Libertadores champion, and at 20 years old, for me, he is extremely interesting. Now, reports are suggesting that, again, both us and Atleti are showing interest in the same players. I mean, that's going to be like the story of the summer season, to be honest, but what separates Gabriel is how he plays the game. Now, he is seen as like a Brazilian Kimmich, and that's because of his versatile nature. He can play equally very good as a right back, wing back, right winger. He can play in midfield too, deep, further forwards, and in central areas as well. And it's how he plays the game. Very progressive. Plays the ball forwards. Great tackling too. You know, he wins those first duels as well, you guys. Great cross off the board as well. Press resistant. Excellent in the build-up phase. Is comfortable receiving, you know, between the lines and the half spaces. And, you know, very positive player. At 20 years old, he becomes of particular interest because Palmeiras do have financial difficulties at this point in time. Reports suggesting that the valuation for him could be between 15 million to 20 million euros, which is an absolute steal in modern day football. And, you know, for me, Kimmich is one of my favorite players, like doing it right now. I think he doesn't get enough praise, in my personal opinion. If there was like a World 11 team he had to build, for me, Kimmich is the first name in that team. And to have a player of that versatile nature in that role, I think that there's a reason why Pep snapped Kimmich up all those years back instantly, because he saw the potential, he saw how he could be molded. And could this be the same logic and principles in which Tuchel could potentially hope to use him? For me, I like players that can fulfill a multitude of different positions. I think as the season goes on, sometimes you get injuries that you can't really prepare for. And I don't like the idea of necessarily signing like specific backups for specific positions that, you know, sometimes, you know, once the first team guys come back, there's no place for these guys in the team again. We've definitely benefited from players like this in the past. I'm looking at Giuliano Bellesi. I thought this guy was extremely underrated, extremely good, and you know, I'm all about signing another Brazilian for the team, you guys. So on that note, that was the News Daily video today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm MENINO FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.